generally speaking, the stock market is now 15%.
EV now is so interesting, and being a car fanatic, what we're seeing at the moment, whether it's Apple, Google or whomever, that the EV market now is treading with caution, because for the first time in the history of the automotive industry, or for the last 100 years, that BMW and Mercedes-Benz have just been downgraded. Now, to give you some idea, actually, Mercedes-Benz, how solvent they are. In the GFC, there were 6 companies after the GFC that maintain a AAA credit rating. AAA. Now, our 4 banks don't have a AAA credit rating. Mercedes-Benz was one of them. And to simply give you some idea how profitable and successful that's been, and BMW close second. So they've just been downgraded because of the competition, market share, still the best-selling vehicle, but by the same token in the EV space, and they've had to stop production on a lot of their total EV vehicles. Porsche Macan has been a great seller, and the Cayenne for the SUV market. As of November, they have ceased production on EV Macan, and had written off, I think, just shy of about 900 million euro on cars that they've produced that there is no demand to sell. So the inventory reserve was normally about 7 to 8%. They're sitting at about 83% reserves, which can't sell EV cars, total battery cars. So they've got their problems. So what I'm getting at is that anyone can come out. Musk is out there. The Chinese now aggressive. BYD have come out and said aggressively that we want 30% market share in 3 years. 30% market share in 3 years, which is phenomenal statement to make. Musk hasn't achieved that, and so there's more to it. Being a car, I don't have an EV car, and it's not to say I won't get one, but the demand at the moment for EV, people have woken up to, well, what is this car worth? The depreciation in 3, 5, 7 years, I can't get a battery for it. If I can get a battery, what's it going to cost? The infrastructure globally, even in Germany, which have been the most productive and smartest engineers on planet Earth when it comes to motor vehicles, they don't have the infrastructure for charging. So America doesn't have the infrastructure for charging. Australia certainly has the infrastructure for a lot of things. And again, no infrastructure for charging. So I think you're going to see, at best, moving from combustion engines to hybrid. I think that is, and the best-selling hybrid vehicle is Toyota. And Toyota's been the best-run car manufacturer in the world by far, and the most successful. So even when you look at Ferrari, Maserati, Porsche, Lamborghini, all of the total battery vehicles, even Rolls-Royce, are failing. So I'm a big fan of Apple. I think Apple's just one of the best companies we've ever experienced, but I just don't think it matters what EV vehicle comes to market. I mean, I wouldn't want to be competing against, Apple's known for great products, but a mobile phone, I remember when Apple phone came out, I had a Nokia phone, and people thought there's no way Apple survived. This Apple company's $1,200 for a mobile phone, people must be off their head. Now they're paying $2,500 for a new phone, and buying apps that half they use and half they don't need. I mean, what's the pricing of Apple car going to look like? Tesla's failing here because they're not a good-looking car, and they're still too expensive. The Chinese are going to take advantage of that. So I think we're a long way away. I think there's too much what I refer to as cocaine and champagne theory, that it's party. People have got to come down to earth. I think the battery and the EV, electric vehicle market, the smartest one to come to market, and it's probably going to be the Chinese that build a really good, reasonable product, extremely aesthetically pleasing, with a battery that's affordable, rechargeable, and it's affordable to the market, the overall car, will be the winners. It'll be the winners. You know, so right now you've got to be at a price point of $55,000 to $60,000. It's got to be nice, and it's got to be depreciate no more than 18 to 20% per annum, and then flatten out after 3 years. These cars are depreciating 70 and 80% after 3 years right now. So whether it's apple, orange or banana, I don't know where that's even going to fly. I think there's bigger issues at hand. And Mercedes-Benz and BMW and Porsche are testaments. And I think that great testimonial for those three companies to the world. So I think there's bigger problems at play. I really do. Well, I mean, then the big question comes about of, you know, they're big enough to go and buy countries, let alone car manufacturing. I mean, whether there's a hybrid, maybe not. Does Apple go to a combustion or a hybrid vehicle? But again, it's an extremely competitive market, and I think there's a lot of people. I mean, right now, if I asked people on the street how many car manufacturers are there in Australia now competing, they would scratch their head and come up with 12. There's 71. 71 car manufacturers competing on. Hang on, folks, get your cameras ready. 29 coming. But we need to factor there's probably 25 to 30 that won't no longer be with us in time. So that's what we're facing at the moment. So to come into that market, saturated, so much competition. If you're going to spend, you've got $50,000, $60,000 or 80 grand to spend on an EV car, you've got a lot of choice. So there's a lot of cars coming in, and I just think it's, you know, right now, and I study it quite close. Well, when I say I study it, because everyone asks me what sort of car should I buy if I was going to buy an EV. Right now, the BYD looks like the best bang for buck for $55,000. And it's or the Hyundai, but then that looks to, in my opinion, it wouldn't be a Tesla. I think Nissan, Mitsubishi. There's a number of reasons. It's got to do with design, labour, automation, and a number of reasons. Are competing on price points. You know, in Europe, what came out last year, that 2026 was the last year for combustion manufacturing in Eastern Europe, and that came out in 2022. That now will be extended. They've now realised Volvo and Scania with their trucking, which in Switzerland, I mean, and in Europe are probably the biggest. Mercedes-Benz is a close third. They've gone to a total battery vehicle in 2023, and they're rolling these vehicles out now, only to realise that they're 2.5 times the price for their. I'm talking about 10-ton, 15-ton vehicles with a 100-kilometre radius drive time. So you've got a 100k length where you've got, and also the charging is twice as long as what you've got on a normal traditional EV vehicle. So a 100 kilometre trip that doesn't take you far in a lot of these trucks. So now they're realising that, well, hey, they've got the off-take on those now have dropped by 70%. So they're all scratching their heads because environmentally they wanted to make the statement that we're environmentally friendly and socially aware at the cost of capital. So I just find it amazing. So I think that getting back to what you're saying about Nissan, I think there'll be others. I can't, the world's just not big enough and the demand is not hot enough for EV cars. I must have one, get me one now. There's just not enough demand for that now.